This is video number 3 for sections 9.5 and 9.6, solving cube root equations. So far, we've just been dealing with equations that have square roots in them, but the same technique that we have been using can be extended to equations with other kinds of radicals. And in this brief video, we'll look at a cube root equation and see how our method has to be tweaked a little bit. The basic series of steps is the same. I've noted a couple of changes over here in the box. Step 1, as before, is isolate the radical. In other words, get rid of the junk. Looks like the 9 in this problem is junk, so I'll need to begin by subtracting 9 from both sides. And now I'm at the stage where I'm ready to get rid of the radical. Well, previously we had been squaring both sides. Squaring is a way to get rid of square roots. Now we're going to be cubing both sides. Cubing would be the opposite of cube rooting. So I'm going to go to the left and cube, and I'm going to go to the right and cube. I'm cubing each side. On the left, when I cube a cube root, it simply makes it disappear. And on the right, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 would be negative 8. Really, this whole idea about squaring both sides or cubing both sides, it all goes back to something we did earlier in the course. You might remember power equations where we used the reciprocal power. We would raise each side to the reciprocal power. That's really all that's happening here. Remember, a cube root is really the same thing as a 1/3 power. Well, the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3. We're raising each side to the reciprocal power. If I had a 4th root, I'd use the power of 4. If I had a 5th root, power of 5, and so on. Okay, then comes solve the resulting equation. This is just a simple linear equation, so I ought to be able to solve it pretty quickly. A couple of simple algebra steps, and then let's see, this doesn't go in evenly. I'll have to just reduce, and I get x equals negative 5/2 as a final answer. Another really nice thing about the cube root equations, as it says in the box, the check, that mandatory check that we were doing before, you don't have to do that in these cube root equations. There are no extraneous solutions here. The reason for that is when you cube both sides, negative signs are preserved, right? We had this negative 2, we cubed it, it was still there. The reason for all those extraneous solutions before is when you square both sides or raise both sides to any even power, you're going to wipe out negative signs, and that tends to cause trouble. So in this case, I'm done. Here's my final solution to the equation. You can follow this same process for any cube root equations you see in the practice or in the homework.